Hey guys, I'm Stefan Orman. I'm one of the brand ambassadors for Pulsar. I've been with Pulsar since 2021, and I've had the chance now to play with the new Pulsar Trail 3s for a couple of months, and these are my first impressions. Alright, so the first impressions of these new scopes are the ergonomics and the footprint. So the footprint is the same footprint as the old Trails, with that prism rail underneath. It's made out of a magnesium alloy. It uses the same proprietary battery as the Telos series with the IPS7. We got ambidextrous control, so it doesn't matter if you're left or right hand. I really like that. We also got a button for the rangefinder and shift the pallets on the other side. Power button, focus adjustment, ambidextrous, and if you want to, you can flip the lens cover around depending on how you want to use it. Also, on the other side, we have the USB-C port for charging it or to download footage and so on to your computer directly. You got a proximity sensor there, so it shuts down the screen if you take it away from your face. When you put it back up again, within a second it's going to turn on. So back here with the controls, you've got your zoom ring, so instead of pressing a zoom button, you just zoom directly. If you go into the menus, use that to scroll down through the different sub-menus and whatnot. We got the LRF sitting up here, and that's been improved from the old ones to 1200 meters. We've got a 50 f1.0 lens, and there are two different versions, the XQ50 and the XR50. The XR has the new 640 by 480 Lynred sensor, 12 micron, and it's way more sensitive than the old XG. So they have the same field of view, same detection range, everything. The XQ is a 384 by 288 17 micron. So the XQ has got a 7.5 degree field of view, and this one has an 8.8 degree field of view. Detection range in the XQ is 1800 meters, and the XR it's 2300 meters. You get another additional 500 meter detection range on a target of 180 by 50 centimeters. If we're going to translate that into Gendridine wild boar, it's going to be around 230 meters in the XR. It's going to be up towards 180 meters in the XQ. So, little brother of the other one. Weight-wise, less than a kilo. I think they're running around 700 grams without the battery. But yeah, it's really compact, very easy to use, very intuitive when you get to know it. Eye relief is a little bit shorter than the 60 series and works really good on a platform like this or an AR system. Okay, so let's go through the different paths. We've got 9 of them, and the first one that we're having right now is a white hot, and we'll go to black hot by pressing this button to the left. Long press, goes to black hot, green, red hot, red monochrome, rainbow, ultramarine, violet, sepia, and then we're back to white hot. Alright, so the next feature we're going to talk about is resolution. We're going to talk about what we can expect from the device. So right now we're running the XR50, meaning that we have 640 by 480 resolution, 12 micron, giving you 2300 meters of detection range of an object of 180 by 50 centimeters. When you zoom in with a device, you're still going to have the same resolution at that given target at that distance. So if we're at 100 yards, you're going to have a certain amount of pixels on that target. When we zoom in, that is not going to increase. It's not an optical zoom, it's a digital zoom. So when I go from base magnification to twice that magnification digitally, I'm cutting the resolution in half in width and in height, meaning I have a quarter of the resolution left in the image. So it's not going to give you more detail, it's just going to bring you closer to it. And why would you need that? Well, that's all about shot placement, really. So got our target down there, let's move it. And then we use a zoom ring to zoom in. And as you can see, they get more pixelated as I zoom in, because we still have the same amount of pixels on target. There's not going to be more definition, but you can get better shot placement. So this is where the texture range comes in. If you expect a unit to give you more detail a longer distance, you need a longer detection range because we're measuring the same object, 180 by 50 centimeters. So if I take the XR50 with 2,300 meter detection range, and I take the XQ50 with 1,800, I place the same target in front of the XR50 at 230 meters. I place the same target at 180 meters with the XQ. I'm going to have the same resolution of that target. So you can calculate what kind of image quality you need. So if you're looking at buying a new thermal device and you think that your XQ35 has a great image, a good enough image for what you're doing at 130 meters, you're going to have the same resolution with the XQ50 at 180. You're going to have the same resolution of target with the XR50 at 230. That's the image quality. So you can recalculate it and go like, oh yeah, this is the right unit for my usage. Field of view, same thing there. Field of view is an angular measurement. Figure that out, and then you can see like, all right, for me personally, I do not like to have a unit with less than 10 degree field of view if I'm closer than 50 meters. If I'm plus 50 meters, yeah, 7.5 or 8.8 is more than good enough. Then it all comes down to what kind of detail do I expect for the different ranges I was shooting at. And as we are in Texas right now, this is a thermal high contrast environment, meaning that the terrain and the target, everything is really warm, and we're getting more contrast. And to some extent, that is so bright for the thermal sensor, we have to reduce the amplification level to normal to be able to pick out a decent image. If I go to high or ultra, I will not see the detail in the berm whatsoever. It will be just black lumps of grass and very, very bright sand, because the sand is warmer than the grass, and the contrast between there is very, very big because it's a huge thermal difference. So you have to play around with the contrast and the brightness to kind of get that grayscale to give you more detail. But if you're in high or ultra, you're going to be overexposed. You're not going to get that detail, how much you want to play with it. So get down to normal mode. Normal stands for normal weather. High, kind of like some normal settings for normal high thermal contrast. If we get into an early morning after foggy and rainy or humid night, everything is going to be cooled down. So there's less thermal contrast in the environment, and you want to give the sensor more information by going to the high setting, high sensitivity. If it's really foggy and raining when you're out, you want to go to the ultra, because the fog will reduce the thermal radiation coming from the object to the sensor, and you need to pull more information in. And then you can still get a clear and detailed image because you're not overexposing it, you're just pulling in more because it needs it. So another feature that has been upgraded for the Trail 3s in both models is a new LRF. It gives you 1,200 meters of measurement, or maximum measurement to be fair. The old ones were about 800 to 1,000 meters depending on the unit. Another great feature with the LRF is obviously the ballistic calculator. So if you put in all your correct data, the right twist rate, muzzle velocity, the height between the center of the scope and center of a barrel, and all the environmentals, etc., 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 then the scope will help you out to give you the suggested point of aim for that distance. We call it suggested point of aim because you need to put in the proper data, otherwise it will not calculate true, and you will miss and you will hurt something. That is not what we want. We want to make a clean, ethical kill. So make sure, if you don't know how to use it, to have someone help you to figure out how to use this function. Another great benefit with an LRF is if you're getting into some more advanced hunting, I would call it, is in some cases you kind of need to not only figure out the range, but you need to figure out the size of the animal. And it could be because, you don't want to shoot a animal of a certain age or a certain size, and figuring out, like, all right, this one is 74 meters away from me. Then I know that each mil is 7.4 centimeters. And if the target is 5 mils tall, it's going to be less than 40 centimeters in height. Meaning that if it's a pig, I can recalculate that, that's less than 25 kilos and has not reached gender maturity yet, for an example. So knowing the target size not only helps you out with calculate the distance, But if you can use the LRF and confirm the range, you can size estimate the target as well. So let's talk about Stream Vision 2 and how you can use that with your scope. So Stream Vision 2, if you've got Pulsar, that will connect with all our devices. The way I like to use it is, for example, if I got a novice hunter out with me and they are borrowing my gear, I will connect to the device and I will look through the device live. So when I got my novice hunter next to me, I got a bunch of pigs, 100 yards in front of me or 100 meters. I can pretty much tell them, like, for example, a third pig from the left is the one you're going for. That's completely fine to shoot. Maybe it's because of the time of year or whatever it is, but I can guide my novice hunter by looking at the screen live and helping them out. But I can also change the settings for them. So if I need to adjust contrast brightness, turn on recording, help them out with the LRF, whatever, I can do that using the Stream Vision 2 app. Another thing is with the Stream Vision 2, you got all your, you can download all your footage. And in some cases, like you have one of those nights where the thing that you don't want to happen happens. You have a bad shot and you're calling for a dog handler, or if you're doing it yourself, doesn't matter. But you can go back, revisit the situation, check what happened. Did I get a good impact and it just ran off 100 meters? Is it a long shot, or did I wound it? Was it a hit in the stomach or in the leg? You can go back and get that information. So if you have someone coming out to help you out to track it, you can tell them, like, yeah, this was a big male boar, 100 kilos, and sadly it's wounded in the leg, so this might be a bit dangerous. So you can adapt to the situation and do the correct estimation. How do we want to continue with this one? How do we do this safely? So there's a lot of information you can use the footage for. So the next question, who's the Trail 3 for? Well, it's a very agile device. It could be used as a handheld if you've got a standard quick detach system on it. You can lift up, you can have it as a handheld because it's very short, very compact, lightweight. Feels kind of like the Telhos actually to hold. So it's kind of like a 2-in-1 unit where you can use it as your thermal rifle scope, but also as a handheld. And if you're on a budget and you want to buy 2 units to make it easy, well, go with this one and you'll get better image quality because you're spending the same budget on a proper scope. It's lightweight, so it's perfect for the stalker and the hunter who moves around between different fields and so on. Field of view is in the XR 8.8 degree. It is optimal for plus 50 meters and up towards 230 meters for gender ID of pigs. But if you're doing coyote hunting or predator hunting and so on, yes, this one will get you out to a much further distance if you need to. You can still ID the species of the animal with ease. And it's not a heavy thing, as I said. It's something very, very agile for everyone who's multitasking, I would say, kind of like stalking, high seat, anything. Right, so that's been a couple of days here in Texas, hunting. The Trail 3s have been working absolutely flawlessly. I hope you enjoyed this. I know I will be enjoying the rest of this stay here at the ranch and the shooting range. Hope you enjoyed it.